everyone, welcome back to the Sisterhood Society podcast. I'm Kait.
I'm Whit.
And I'm Tara.
And we're the three sisters of this podcast, also the three sisters of Royal and Reese. So we want to do a quick intro at the beginning of our episodes, just in case you guys don't know who we are, because we are a brand new podcast. So today we're going to be diving into a really fun topic that I feel like is a very hot topic on social media right now, which is our Enneagram numbers. And we were just saying that we feel like our parents had a different personality test than us. And this is like the Enneagram. The Enneagram is like the personality test of the millennials. So, but before we do that, we need to dive into what's good in the sisterhood, which is the way we start every podcast episode. So who would like to go first? Tara, should we go in birth order?
Well, this isn't good, but I was saying, well, the good news is that I got my Beth Ten sweatshirt. The bad news is that I dropped a shrimp piece on it today at lunch. It rolled down the sweatshirt, down my leg, all the way to my ankle and to the floor. And so now I can't wear it again tomorrow.
It's sad that you lost the piece of shrimp, and then also sad that you stained your sweatshirt.
Yes, it was a twofer. So, but yes, as far as what's going on, that's good. I don't know what's been going on. We had your
Oh yeah, that'll be my good one. Indy's fifth birthday was this week, and he got to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and then we had a party for him last night with a piñata. It was a very good evening, and he pretended like he wasn't having a good time, but he could only pretend so long because he really was having a blast.
Was he trying to play cool, or what do you mean?
Yeah, he's trying to play it cool. He gets weird in front of people. You know, he gets kind of like bashful. He's a middle child.
Whit told me he wanted a phone charger for his birthday because they always have to share, so he would like his own. And then he opened it with his gift, and I was like, your mom told me that you would love this.
He does love it. He has his little charger now.
If you didn't preface it on the video you sent to our family chat, I would have been like, that's a weird gift for a 5-year-old as a phone charger. But
we did also get him some Roblox socks and a Roblox gift card and some Sour Patch candy. So
he came down, they went up to their bed, and they like kind of wind down with their iPads, and he came down literally like 15 minutes later, and he goes, Dad, I need some more Roblox cash. And Isaac's like, you spent all of that already? And he's like, what'd you spend it on? He goes, I don't know. Oh my gosh.
He spent $20 already. That's hilarious.
Apparently you can buy little like avatars or something. I don't get it.
What's new with you?
I started a new book series that I'm really enjoying, and my week has been super busy. I was traveling in Illinois last week to actually help get the podcast going, and then I got home, and I feel like I haven't had a lot of time to read, but I got into a little fantasy. Who is she? She's into fantasy. That's what Phil and I always do. That was really weird. I always go, who's that girl? She's into fantasy. Who is she? And I like change the topic of whatever I'm talking about. Anyways, so it's called A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm in the second book. Oh, also, I got my toes done, which hadn't happened in like 5 months. So that was really necessary and good for me.
I think we need to tell that story. So last week when Kait was here, her toenails, like all the toenail polish was off except for just like pieces of the white nail polish on the tips of her big toes. And it looked like that like putty that you put on the wall. Like,
no, it didn't.
I thought it looked like the putty that you put on the wall.
If you had thought through that for a few minutes, you would have realized, oh, instead of putty on her toes, it's her toenail polish.
So I thought she had like bandages or something like that on her toes. So I was like, what's wrong with your toes? And she was like giving all these, she hasn't had time to go get a pedicure, all stuff. And out of nowhere she goes, what's wrong with your toes?
Because Tara also has not had time to get her toes done. It has been several months.
No, not several months. It's been like 9.
Yeah, 9 months.
Like 9 months.
You had like literally only like a strip of polish on the end of your big toes.
It's shocking that my big toes grow that slow. That they're still.
I was gonna say it's like scraps of little purple scraps on your toes. It's like all that's left is just like these little slivers, which was kind of what mine was like. But like I sat down in the pedicure chair and she was like, haven't been in a while, and I was like, nope. But hot take, I hate getting my nails done. Like, I don't mind the pedicure as much, but like if I go for nails and toes, you're there for like 3 hours.
It's long.
It's such a waste of time.
You
started
also
doing
don't like a
mine.
nail file.
Yeah, Kait does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing to remark about Kait. She cannot stand nail files. She'll vomit.
We should have put that on your quirks.
Oh, should
No.
I file my nail right now, Kait?
No, I literally have like hives already. Stop! Don't even tell me. It's literally like my stomach just did a flip flop.
Yeah, she doesn't like it every time, and usually
You're so selfish, Kait.
I forget that she hates it, and she'll be in the office, and I'll get my nail file out to like fix something because I cannot stand jagged nails, and she'll literally scream at me. She's like, "Don't you dare!" It literally scares me.
Freaks me out. I think it's because we grew up with like, I know that this doesn't exist anymore because now they have whiteboards, but we had chalkboards growing up. Oh, I just got the shivers just thinking about it.
Files are not the same thing.
I know, but it's reminiscent of the feeling of scratching a chalkboard, and I have to move on. Okay, so Enneagrams. We don't want to see me barf on this podcast. Enneagram numbers. So we're going to read an explanation of each of our numbers. So I guess we can just go in birth order. Terry, do you want to go first and read yours?
Sure. So I am an 8 wing 7. And where's the thing?
Take a little more time here.
Sorry, I'm trying to find one.
Here, I got it right here.
8 wing 7. This type of Enneagram 8 is adventurous, quick-minded, charismatic, and a big idea thinker. They are action-oriented people who see all the possibilities and cast vision for practical application to make big things happen. They desire to make a big impact on the world and are great mentors hoping to help others reach their full potential. They're independent risk takers who are sociable, talkative, competitive, and outgoing. However, they are practical, pragmatic, and giving little care to what others think of them. They don't tolerate incompetence, and they stand to be slowed down by other people's inability to move at the same pace. The 8 with the 7 wing is more open with their emotions and tends to be more aggressive and willing to confront issues head on.
It's very accurate.
It is very accurate.
It is. Especially the part where you can't, what did it say? You can't stand incompetence.
Yeah, incompetence infuriates me.
Actually, should we go through and say go through the questions for you specifically, since we already read like what yours is? It'll be fresh.
Sure. So the first thing we had written down was, what do we like about our Enneagram, and also what we don't feel like we resonate with. So I think first and foremost, I always think of an 8 as being strong, and I think that that's probably part of my 8 is that I like to be known as strong. I don't like to be looked at as weak, and so sometimes I feel like I have to be strong even if I'm not feeling it. But I do like that comes across as a strong personality.
I consider you strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the strongest personality type.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with that.
But I will say that I don't feel like I resonate with all of it as an 8, because I do feel like 8s can be really harsh sometimes. And so when an 8 is healthy, they go to a 2. And so I feel like I'm a lot of an 8 too. Like I feel like I'm a good combo with that. Because I don't feel like I resonate with everything about the 8.
I feel like 8s can be harsh, but maybe in more stressful situations.
Yeah, I could see that.
So like, cause a healthy 8 is a 2, and a 2 is like very not people pleasing, but very like service oriented for people, like really love.
We are people pleasing too.
Yeah, 2s are, but I think
And very social.
yeah. And I feel like 8 can be really aggressive and harsh, maybe under stressful situations where they feel out of control.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's not like 8s are always harsh and aggressive. I think it depends on the occasion.
Yeah. It was also, what was the one thing that surprised me about knowing my Enneagram? And I think the one, it talks about like not being put in the box. And that didn't really surprise me, but it was just affirming, because I have said that on so many occasions. I don't love being put in a box. Like for me, growing up, I had a lot of people that pegged me as high maintenance. And I feel like I'm actually probably one of the lowest maintenance people in a lot of regards. I have high expectations, but I feel like from a maintenance perspective, I feel like I'm a relatively low maintenance person, but I always got tagged as high maintenance. And so I hated being told what people thought I was rather than them actually knowing who I was. And so the putting in the box is so accurate for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Did we already? Oh, okay. So mine, I'm Whitney. Mine is a 9 wing 1, which is listed as a dreamer, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't consider myself a dreamer, but anyways, the words underneath that combines is orderly, idealistic, critical, emotionally controlled, and compliant. And then it says this type of Enneagram 9 is imaginative and creative. They desire their external world to be in order, which helps calm their inner world. They have a unique ability to see many different viewpoints and bring them together to create an ideal world. They are very good at reading nonverbal cues and holding space for people to be who they are without judgment. They are friendly, upbeat people who tend to busy themselves doing things that are not of top priority, neglecting the really important things for fear of where to start. They often have a streak of perfectionism in them and can tend to feel superior to others. They desire to be respected and can become quietly angry when they feel dismissed or overlooked, which is pretty spot on. I feel like if you look at a 9 wing 1, I'm like the poster child for that. Like literally there should just be like a photo of me next to a 9 wing 1 at all times. The one thing I don't feel like I resonate is I don't feel like I think of myself as better than anybody else. That was one thing that was listed on that thing I just read. I don't feel superior to others. I don't look at myself and be like, yeah, I'm superior. I feel like I'm insecure, so I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm way better than you.
What do you like about your Enneagram though?
I like that. Well, I like that I get along with most people.
Yeah.
I can get along with pretty much.
You kind of go along to get along.
Yeah. Like I'm a quality timer, so if you're gonna like include me, I'll be like, yeah, I'll go. Include you. But also I like that it said that I can pick up on nonverbal cues, which because I feel like I'm really attentive for the most part when I'm not stressed. I'm really attentive for the most part when I'm not stressed, and I can pick up on nonverbal cues. So I am very aware of the atmosphere or the attitude that's going on in a situation. I can pick up on that, and then that helps me kind of tiptoe or helps me to neutralize situations.
I think you're very insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind.
So I think that you have a way to basically like it's talking about, you can see opposing viewpoints, and I feel like you have the ability to listen to both without judgment, but also respond. I feel like this is something that has also you have grown in as you've gotten older, is that you respond non-defensively.
Yeah, I've had to work on that.
But I just mean like you're able to like, I feel like you're very introspective, and then like your response is slow. You're slow to speak. You're quick. What is that? It's not quick to anger. I feel like you think through your words.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't used to be that way. I was very black and white, and then I would bite back.
I would say over the last 7 years.
Since Royal and Reese.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've all grown in like the way we interact with one another, because learning to figure out how to run a business and also still be sisters is it's a task, right?
I think it was really helpful, to be able to communicate
effectively.
Yeah, effectively, not just communicating like hurt or trying to communicate in a way that would put you guys down, because that doesn't help anybody. And I think that's what I used to do growing up, not realizing there's a better way to communicate my frustrations instead of being like, you suck. Oh, I just spit everywhere.
You have to watch on YouTube for the full effect.
I think one of the best pieces of advice though Dad gave us when starting the business was that you guys their family first and foremost. And that if the business ever comes in the way of that he was going to make us shut it down, because he was like, you're going to be sisters at the end of the day. And so I feel like that has resonated with me on countless occasions, because there's just certain times that there, frustrations crop up but it's like over dumb stuff that isn't worth like bringing issue to for the sake of the relationship.
But also I feel like it's helped too, if there is a frustration that crops up, we know how to be like, okay, why am I frustrated? Let's communicate this in a way that is positive and be like, I feel like this needs to change a little bit, but let me get your point or like your take on it. Yeah. So instead of like making it personal and trying to like put jabs in, you're just like, wait, let's actually fix the problem and not cause more problems with being mean.
I feel like when you're in the midst of the three of us, that you're the mediator. Whereas like if Kait and I are having a discussion that gets heated, usually I'm yelling, Kait's mad, and then one of us ends up hanging up. Mm-hmm. And then someone calls and apologizes.
It seems so unnecessary. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Sometimes it ends in, well, there's always an apology, and sometimes there's crumble cookies.
That happens like once every 4 years. Like that's not like something that happens often enough to even address.
What's funny is I don't think I've gotten, well, no, we've gotten in arguments before, but I've never gotten to the point where I like cuss one of you out and hang up on you. It's just such like difference of personalities. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. I think it's more just heightened frustrations over the situation, not necessarily even be mad at one another.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like a lot of frustration is more, it has nothing to do with the actual three of our relationship. It's like, if the business is in a weird spot and we're frustrated with the circumstance, it really has nothing to do with the three girls like running it. It's more just frustrated with where it's at in the moment.
Okay, what do you feel like is a trait of Whit that's like screams her Enneagram?
She's hard to get a hold of on Sundays.
That's my Enneagrams.
I'm just kidding. Whitney, I feel like when I'm with, like, I feel like previous employees have said this to me too. Like when you're with Whitney, you feel like you're at home. Like she makes you feel like cozy, I feel like is the right way. And Whitney is the same Enneagram as my best friend. And so I feel like I always, and actually Whitney is the same Enneagram as my husband. And so I feel like I gravitate towards people that are like really calm or like feel like a sense of stability, because that's not the way I am at all. Like I definitely fly by the seat of my pants.
I think that you're not necessarily gravitated towards us. We're gravitated towards you.
It could be true.
Look, an extrovert that will
make us laugh.
Bring us a part of their little world.
That will actually slow down fast enough to like, or slow down enough to bring you in, is what I was trying to say. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, Kait, what's your Enneagram?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying?
I like don't even know where I was going with that, so it's like I started the sentence with no plan. So it's fine, we can move on. Okay, so mine is a 2-wing 3, which is a host/hostess, and the like top word says self-assured, charming, flattering, ambitious, outgoing, and competitive, which is like I could just stop right there. The Enneagram 2 is outgoing and friendly. They seek love and connection through friendship and making others feel special and good. This type of 2's self-worth is tied to their personal qualities rather than being of service to others, which I'll get to that later. They tend to be talkative, charming, and adaptable. They're ambitious and focused, feel their presence as a gift to those around them, which I definitely don't feel that way, but they're less serious and more task-driven people who are looking for acceptance and relational intimacy. This type of 2 has an allure about them. They often draw people to them through their humor, excessive friendliness, and exaggerated sentimentality. They're pretty direct in stating what they want and often express to others how they've helped them in some way or another as a way of showing their importance. All of that is true, but I don't feel like my presence is a gift.
Except you did say that you're a Dalmatian.
Yeah, but that was kind of me just being cheeky. But it's not like when I walk in a room, I'm like, aren't you guys all so glad that I showed up? Like, I don't feel like, whether they're glad or not, it's not an expectation for me to think like, I guess I think highly of myself, but not in that way. Like, I'm self-confident, but I'm definitely not like, oh, everyone's going to be so happy that I'm showing up to this event.
Like about your Enneagram?
I like that my Enneagram number is a likable number. Like, I feel like most of the time people want to have twos in their life. I just contradicted myself. My presence is a gift, I guess. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, I like that it's like I'm known for being helpful and friendly, because I feel like that's what I like can contribute to my friendships.
But you're
so
also
I like
party.
What'd you say?
You're also the life of the party.
Thank you. Well, I also feel like what I don't relate with, or what I struggle with that's like pinned on Enneagrams, but I guess it's something I've worked through, is I hate that Enneagram 2s are known as like peons. Like, people are always like,
walking over
you get walked all over, and that you have no boundaries, which in some senses has been true in the past. But I feel like once I recognized it and like took the test, that it was easier for me to like pinpoint when that was happening to me. Like, I've had some crazy situations. Like, I was with a friend who is like boundaries.com. Like, she is the most boundary oriented person. And someone texted me and was like, can you take my car to the car wash? Like, something ridiculous. Like, it was just like, why is this person asking me to go get their car washed? Like, things you would never ask Tara. You know what I mean? Like, people would be like, I would rather die than ask Tara to take my car to the car wash. But then they like, people ask me things because they know I'll say yes. And so I don't love that. I like that people think that they can rely on me, but like, I do feel like twos get taken advantage of. And I don't like, yeah, if you allow it, or if the person doesn't understand your personality and understand that like you have a hard time saying no, because it's not because you have a hard time saying no to what they are asking you to do, because most of the time you don't feel like doing what they're asking you. Like, if someone's asking you for help, majority of the time you're like, I don't really want to spend my Saturday doing that. It's more the fact that you don't want them to perceive the fact that you don't care about them enough to do it. And that's like what I struggle with a lot, like to the point where it like haunts me. Yeah, like
you sit and stew on stuff. If you like say something or it got taken the wrong way, and you literally sit and like freak out about it because you're like, I don't want them to think I don't like them. Like, I hope they know that I really like them. And like, you literally stew on it. I'm like, you are overanalyzing it. Yeah. You can let it go.
That's the thing too, is that there's an OCD behavior. Oh my gosh, I just clanged my ring. There's an OCD behavior that's actually called checking. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but it's like synonymous with twos, where like any therapist or like counselor will tell you not to do this. But like, there's an OCD behavior where you'll be like, you like say your piece to someone and you feel like they take it the wrong way, and then you like continue to clarify and you just keep going, and they're like, no, I'm fine. And I literally did this to Whitney in the office last week, and I was like, no, but like, I didn't mean it like that. And she's like, I didn't take it that way. And I was like, no, but I really didn't mean to come off like a biatch. And she's like, no, I didn't say it. And I just like kept going because I didn't feel like she was giving me the response that I needed to move on.
Like, and Caitlin, you don't need to keep going. I'm totally okay, and we have other things we have to do.
Like, we just like kept going back and forth, and then finally you're like, seriously, this is a non-issue, move on. I was like, okay. But it's more the fact that like, I really struggle with people misusing, or what's the word I'm looking for? I really struggle when I feel like people misunderstand my words, because my heart and my intention behind anything I say is always pure. But whether people perceive it that way, I can't control. And that's the thing that drives me nuts. It's like, I don't really know how they're perceiving it. So then I feel like I overdo it by like making them feel like they know what my heart intention was behind it. Even if I was joking, sometimes I like struggle with joking with people because I don't want it to come off too harsh, or like, You know what I mean? It has to be someone I feel really comfortable with so that they don't like take it to heart.
Yeah. So what part don't you feel like you resonate with the two?
Well, what don't I resonate with? Well, I said that I didn't think that my presence was a gift, but maybe I've changed my mind. I would say I'm not super direct. Like it says, they're very direct in stating what they want. I'm not that way unless I'm comfortable with people. Like with Phil, if he'll be like, where do you want to eat? I'll tell him and like be straight up. But if we're in a group, like I feel like my other sister-in-laws with my in-laws are very direct and be like, I don't feel like eating there. Like if they're like, where do you want to go? And I would never say that, which not that I don't feel comfortable with my in-laws because I've known them for like 15 years, but I think it's more the fact that like I don't want to ruffle the boat. I was gonna say rock the boat and ruffle feathers, ruffle the boat. I don't want to rock the boat, I feel like is more the fact. So like I'll just eat somewhere I don't really feel like eating, and then inside I'll just be like kind of hating life that I didn't speak up because I didn't want to go to Chili's. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I've actually had to go through and figure out where I actually like to eat, because 99.9% of the time I'll be like, I don't care, which I do care, but I literally have no idea what I actually like, so because I like lay down and die for everyone.
Yeah.
So like if you say you don't care, but then Isaac suggests something, do you say no, that doesn't sound
yes
good? Okay.
Yes, I do. That's exactly what I do, and he hates it.
Phil does that to me. Phil does have an opinion. Phil is Whitney's personality, and he does have an opinion about where to eat, but he always says, I don't care. So we'll go back and forth, and I'll give him like 4 options, and he'll say no to all of them. And then finally, he'll go back to my first choice because he doesn't want to keep arguing because he's a peacemaker, which is what a 9 is. So I'll be like, whatever, well, let's just go to freaking Chewy's, which is like where I always want to eat. And he's like, so, like, it's to the point where he's like, I don't care enough to have the energy spent to banter that I'll just eat somewhere I don't want to eat.
I think I've gotten to the point where I will say, give me 3 options and I'll choose from the 3.
Do you have trouble choosing an item off the menu? Like you don't know what you want to eat once you're there, or you just have trouble choosing the restaurant?
I had trouble choosing the restaurant, mainly because I have to like think really hard because I have to like get in touch with what I actually want. And I feel like that's extremely difficult for me because I'm like sitting there, I'm like, do I feel like eating chicken? Like it's like a monumental decision. I'm so indecisive. I think it's a 9 thing.
Because really I feel like when we go out to restaurants, I'm usually like, I know by the time the waitress comes to get our like drink order, I know what I want.
What I would not give for that.
But I feel like Brian's like that, where he's like, oh, I don't want to get, and then he a lot of times makes a panic judgment and he doesn't like his food. And I was like, you should just go with the tried and true because I always, I have a specific order.
You should write it down. Tara knows exactly what to get and where and how to get it. So like if she'll be like, okay, you have to go to Epiphany Farms and you have to get this salad and you have to get the nested egg and you have to ask for the pork belly, but it has to be cut up in cubes and you need to get it with this like dressing. Like it's very
rice,
specific.
wine, vinaigrette.
So like a ton of the time I actually use Tara's suggestions for places because it ends up being good every single time, and then I don't have to make a decision. It's great.
Our cousins have said that like they can't listen to you describe food because they get so hungry because you're so like descriptive in the way you say how to order. They'll be like, oh my gosh, it makes me so hungry, I feel like I'm eating it already. It's funny.
Yeah, she's very good at explaining food and directions and different restaurants, and oh gosh, it's a handful of stuff. But yeah, I've said anything in 100-mile radius, Tara can give you good recommendations.
Okay, so I'm gonna add something since you asked me this about Whitney, because I was gonna say something about Tara's personality.
Yeah, we kind of skimmed over Tara's.
Well, I was gonna say, going back to Tara's being the 8, I actually really struggle with relationships with 8s in general. Like if I meet someone in person and they say they're an 8, I'm like instantly intimidated. Like I'm already like, shoot. So because I feel like 8s can be like really vocal and sometimes they can be really overpowering, and they don't feel, there's no shying away from like sharing their opinions or like letting you know how it is. And I feel like if I'm in a room full of a lot of people like that, I actually get really quiet. Like at Susie's school, I don't know if everyone was 8s there, but when we were at this business retreat, everyone had really like upbeat personalities, because obviously they're all entrepreneurs, so they all have very similar personality types. And at the end of the retreat, everyone said they thought I was shy. And I was like, okay, literally you don't know me at all, because I've never been described as shy. But anyways, so sometimes I feel like I take a back seat to everybody in the room if there's a lot of like really, really strong personalities, even though I would consider myself to have a strong personality. But I feel like that's the one thing that everyone that knows you says you're the opposite of your personality type, because you make people feel really welcome. Like, you're not an intimidating 8 to me. And I feel like some 8s will speak their mind without thinking of the repercussions of the person's feelings. I just spit. Especially someone like me who's more sensitive to words. Like, I feel like you're very like careful in the way that you handle relationships. And I do feel like, and this isn't like speaking badly of 8s, but some 8s can bulldoze people and don't know that they're doing it. It's just because it's the way that they are. And someone like me who's more sensitive, like, is just trying to get out of the way. You know what I mean? When they're like coming at you. So I have a lot of really thoughtful 8 friends, but I feel like if I meet a bunch of 8s all at the same time, or if I'm in a new social situation and they're like, I'm an Enneagram 8, I'm like, oh crap. Like, I'm scared of how our interactions are going to go, because I'm constantly like almost like just constantly thinking of how to appease that person instead of just letting them be themselves.
I feel like I'm very careful in conversation. Like you said, like I try to make sure that I'm incorporating everyone. But if you get in an argument with me, I will bulldoze you.
Yeah, true.
It's very different.
It's actually, I like when Tara gets like frustrated with vendors or whatever, or if she has to like call somebody and have like a really tough conversation, mainly
it's the justice,
mainly with like vendors, and I know that they have it coming, I literally get giddy, because I'm like, I love hearing Tara just give it to someone, not like you do it in a mean way, but like you literally just lay it all out there, like, you did this and you haven't done this and I expect this. And it's so like fascinating, because I've never in my life had a conversation like that. And so I feel like I'm like living vicariously through you. And I respect it so much, because I'm like, I feel like that is extremely difficult to do, and yet you do it so easily.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But you're not an a-hole when you do it. Like, I feel like a lot of people can be really gruff in those like types of situations or scenarios where they're almost like just straight up rude. And I think there's a difference between being like stern and saying your point and like truly being respectful at the same time, because you can have those conversations and still be respectful to the person you're talking to.
Exactly. Like, you have a way of being able to like lay it all out there, but still at the end of the call, still coming to a resolution, and then not like you not backing down, and then like seeing your point of view.
Right.
Which I think it's really fascinating, because it's like a lesson in how to address conflict. Like, you just like deal with it head on, whereas me, I'm like, I'd rather die than have a conversation like that, because I get tongue tied. I can't formulate my thoughts fast enough. I sit there, it's almost like I have to like, text it out in order to be able to like get all my thoughts together and be able to explain it in a good way, and then still be able to come to a resolution. Whereas you are like so quick that you're like, okay, this has to change, but you do it firmly and, like Kait said, respectfully. It's not like you're sitting there cussing them out or anything.
Or the hand claps come out. This is your job. You are the expert. One thing I feel like about Tara too is that this has just become a compliment game, which is my favorite game. Is I also feel like you are constantly looking to like out give the way that you've done before. Like, you're like not just in gift giving, but like the way that you show love towards the people that you care about. And to the point where like her 2 best friends, whenever it's her birthday or Christmas, panic, because they're like, Tara always makes us feel so special, and like we're always trying to like top what she did for our last birthday. And so I feel like they do an amazing job of like thinking of you and stuff, but I do feel like when your birthday rolls around, we all have to like put our heads together to be like, okay, listen, we have to make Tara feel special because she does it for everybody else. And it's been difficult to like, not that you really ask for much, because it's not like you're like expecting some big like hoopla, but we want to make sure that you feel the same way that you make others feel, which I don't know if that's necessarily a trait about your personality type or not.
I don't know. I feel like there's some of the 8s. That's why I say there's some of the 8 that I don't necessarily feel like when I've read like how an 8 wants to be loved, I actually want to be loved and affirmed like the 3. So I feel like I've got some pieces in there that don't fully always, but don't always fully align. But we were laughing earlier about the Jamie from Unstuckologist when she did the video about the airport, like how people at the different Enneagrams act at the airport. The most 8 thing that video has ever like resonated with me is when she said that 8s will say, why can't we figure out a way to like more efficiently load this plane? Like, why don't we load it from back to front? Because I've said those exact words when we're standing in line.
I sent that video to you and I was like, Tara, you said this to me.
I don't understand why we start with first class, because then you have to like climb over every single person. Why do first class want to be on the plane longer anyway? Like, you want to really be on there as little time as possible. And why do we like not go from like back to front and from window to aisle? Like, it doesn't, like, why do I want to climb over 2 people when I get to my seat? It just does not make sense.
Yeah, why don't we go in numerical order?
Yeah, from 30 to the forward. Like, it's just,
it's so very valid.
It makes perfect sense to me, but apparently the airlines do not agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can understand if you have small children, but again, why do you want to be on the plane with small children longer than you have to be? Like, it's really, honestly, if you want to do a service to a family, you would say, we will let you load last, because we know that you need to let your kid like run off their energy, but no, let's load the family first so that they're sitting there screaming when on takeoff. It's fantastic.
So funny.
That could be a whole.
So the next question is, what's actually something, as you've gotten to know your personality type better, that has surprised you?
I already answered that. Right? The in a box, being put in a box.
Oh yeah. Did I answer that?
I don't think
I don't think so.
I don't know how to answer that. I can't think through it. Kait, you go next.
Well, actually, speaking of Jamie, she was a life coach at Susie's school, which was a business retreat we went to for our online store, which is called Royal and Reese, which most of you guys would know already.
Last weekend, which is so crazy. It was 2 years ago this past weekend.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And so the first night she was there, this was like back when I had a very unhealthy relationship with our business. Like, I was working like an ungodly amount of hours. And I don't know like how I didn't crash before this point, but I felt like I just was like an adrenaline junkie. Like, I was just, there wasn't like a lot of time to slow down within the business anyways, because we were at like a crazy growth spurt that just like wouldn't quit. But when we were there, I was just telling her like what my lifestyle looks like. And she was like, so when do you like have fun? Or like, when do you sleep? Or like, when do you like do XYZ? Like, when do you rest? And I was like, well, I guess I don't. Like, I have a social life, so I guess I would rest like with my friends, but that's like adding to the amount of hours that of the like output of energy that I was putting in. And I would qualify myself as someone who doesn't require a lot of sleep. Like, I can go multiple days without getting a lot of sleep, and then I'll have to like, I hit a wall and like need to catch up. But for the most part, like 6 or 7 hours, like some people need like 9 or 8 minimum, but if I get 6 a night, I feel fine. Anyways, she like really challenged me to think about like the importance of rest and like what that really looks like in my life, and how like 2s, because they are like constantly thinking of others, not just in an emotional way, but like physically helping other people, you can like burn out so quickly. And my why behind why I was doing it was because I saw you guys raising kids, and I was like, if I could take the pressure off the girls so that they can have their evenings free, and they can be, not that this makes me like the most sacrificial person, but this is just was like in my head. Like, I would want to make them feel like they can be regular moms, even though we have this insane business running alongside of us. And so my like intention behind it was pure, but what I was doing was like really destructive. And so I feel like that's something with 2s that I didn't realize, is that like you do a lot of things thinking that it's for good. But then like when you actually like take a step back, it's actually like really toxic behavior. And like even like doing things for the act of getting praise, like that's very reminiscent of like my personality type. Like I'll help someone, and I feel like if they didn't respond the way I want to, I'll be hurt. Or like our mom actually has I'm literally like half my dad and half my mom, and my mom has the same personality type as me, and we relate to that a lot. Like we're not responsible for other people's like responses to the way that we say or do things, because we want everyone to like us, basically. Like really like relate to what we're saying. So that was something that I feel like I've had to put into practice, and I still really struggle with, because if I have to choose between giving myself rest or like being with the person or helping someone, I always choose other people outside of myself. And that's why doing the 75 hard challenge, I think like the reason I'm not enjoying it is because it's so much self-focus. I don't know if you guys feel that, or Tara feels that way too, but I don't love like
The reason I like it. I feel like I've spent the last 7 years not focused on me, because I've been having babies and watching kids and doing all these things. And so I've, given myself or my body to, 6 pregnancies over the course of 8 years. And it's taken such a huge toll that I've lost, like, you lose sight of yourself in a lot of ways. And so for me, I feel like it's the first time it has given me the opportunity to like take my life back. And I think the reason that it has like reinvigorated me is that it feels like for the first time in a long time, I have control over my life. Because I can control it. And so, so much of what has happened over the last couple of years with the business and the pandemic and all those things are things that you can't control, right? It's just happened to you. It's something that you just have to go along to, ride the wave, because there's no other option. But this feels like something that's very calculated and very structured, and something that I can follow, and that I'm doing it and doing it well. And so it's like an accomplishment that I can say like I've achieved this. And I think because growing up, I was such like a overachiever. Like I, wanted to be the best at everything and did really well at a lot of things that I did, and like wanted to be the, best at anything I did do. I felt like I lost a piece of that in motherhood, because I just kind of like, when I would try something, I would stop doing it or wouldn't follow through. And I hate that about myself. Like if I run into somebody and I say like, let's do dinner sometime, and I see them again and I haven't like reached out to them to do dinner, it drives me crazy. Like I want to be the person that actually follows through. And so I think that that's what has always bothered me about trying to get back in shape and get the weight off, is that it's been something that I have not made a priority or disciplined myself to be able to do it. And so this is the first time in a really long time that I've proven to myself that I can, and also that I'm a lot stronger than I was giving myself credit for.
Totally.
Sorry, that was a huge tangent that I didn't mean.
No, I think it's good.
What's the most 2 thing that you would say that Kait does, or is Kait?
I think what I mentioned earlier is when she like obsesses that someone's mad at her, or like not obsesses. No, I think obsesses actually is good. Like when you're nervous that maybe something didn't come across the correct way, and then you like think through it. I can literally tell just based off of like the way your face is that you're probably like pondering and making sure that this person isn't mad at you, or they didn't take it the right way, or whatever. I feel like that's a very 2 thing, because you want to make sure that they know that you love them.
I feel like that you're very accomplishment or like task oriented to a degree. And so it'll like, you'll be like, I loaded your dishwasher, I cleaned off all your cabinets, I did like a load of laundry, I put all the stuff away, I got the kids in bed, and I put their dirty pajamas and you like learn how to love like all these things. And it's so super super helpful. Like, but like you said, it's like you're in some regard you're looking for that reaction, because you want the positive affirmation, which I'm the exact same way. Like it's funny because I feel like you and I have these parallels, that I do a lot of things because I want words of affirmation in return, which is now spinning into love languages, but I will do acts of service for somebody because I want the words of affirmation back. And I feel like that's like the piece of the 2 coming out, that you do things for others and you're helpful for others, but you do want that affirmation from them because you want to feel loved and respected.
So I would say we can answer this as our last question. What do you feel like is the most positive thing you've changed to like align and be healthy within your Enneagram?
Here and I just both looked at each other, waiting for each other to answer. I feel so like the 9s, I feel like they tend to get a rap about how they're quietly angry. And I feel like I've been trying to do better with understanding how I like addressing my emotion or acknowledging an emotion that I have in the moment or near the moment. Sometimes it takes me a while to process, but I feel like I try to do better at acknowledging how I feel and not allowing it to get to anger, but instead communicating in a healthier way.
Yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, because you used to stuff it down and then you'd snap and stuff would come out and you'd be like, holy crud, where did that come from?
I still tend to do that when I'm overwhelmed, and I'm trying to get better at that.
But it would be stuff that happened like 6 or 9 months ago, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like this wasn't like yesterday's issue. This was like,
if you're a 9, make sure you're kind of in touch with your emotions. You don't stuff it down just to get along with people. You know how to communicate if you're frustrated in a healthy way.
I feel like I've become softer. Like I feel like even when I read back through like status updates on Facebook, like just even the stupid one about Whit sent us this picture, and I said something about Whit either has dandruff or she like has snow melting on her head.
I know, I sent it and I was like, stupid. It was from 12 years ago, and I was like, why would you post that?
It's so dumb.
So mean.
I feel like, humor at the expense of someone else. Like, I mean, I think there's a time to joke around, but I feel like that I'm more, what I want to say, like,
you're wittier. You make funnier jokes. That wasn't even funny.
No, it's not funny. But I feel like I'm more self-aware than I used to be.
Kait, what about you?
Well, mine's kind of obvious. I feel like I've tried to practice. I don't feel like I'm good at it yet, but I still feel like I've tried to practice rest more than I ever have. And like sitting in the uncomfort of that, because I feel like my go-to would be to not do that and just keep like moving without. And if you guys ever read The Body Keeps Score, like my body definitely keeps.
The audiobook is terribly boring.
Oh, really? Well, it's all about how like your body hangs on to trauma or anxiety, or like it just remembers things. And so like if you push your body too hard, it will respond in like sickness or whatever. And I already struggle with a lot of indigestion issues. And so like mine comes out in that, or I'll get like a sinus headache or cold or something, where my body like almost physically like shuts me down. Like if I don't take the time to rest, like it will do it for me. And so I feel like I have to be careful with that too. But I went to the virtual Susie School retreat last April, and everyone was like, you seem so different. Like you seem like you actually like have time for yourself and you feel like more confident or whatever. And they joked because Susie was like, what's changed? And I was like, I took up reading. And then they thought that was like so funny. Like the whole weekend I kept being like, she took up reading. So I started reading because it was the only way. I think I'm self-diagnosed ADHD. I don't know if I actually am, but I relate to a lot of the things that people say they are when they're ADHD. And one of the things is like, they can't focus on like one thing. They always have to be multitasking. Whereas like with reading, because it's like you can't really multitask when you read, obviously. It's like the only thing I feel like that will make me sit still. And so I think that's why I enjoy it, because it's the only form of rest, but it also feels like I'm accomplishing something still. So I don't feel lazy.
Yeah.
If I'm watching TV, like I'm working at the same time, or I'm posting something on Instagram, like I can't just binge. Like when people say they binge watch shows, I'm like, how? Like I don't, how do you just sit and watch a show? Like I have no chill at all. So I don't like when people say that, I'm like, oh, I watched it while I was like getting ready, or I watched it while I was cooking. I don't just like sit. I can't remember the last time I sat and watched something without doing something else.
I'm in that boat too, though. I can't sit down and watch a show without being either scrolling on my phone or also reading a book.
I feel, I need something to do with my hands.
I feel like that, maybe I mentioned this on another podcast, but I feel like it also has something to do with the fact that that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years. Like our business on our phones. And so we're used to that. It's almost like a habit now.
Yeah.
Like scrolling, checking Facebook, checking Instagram, checking comments, checking this, checking that, or even just mindlessly scrolling. Yeah. I think it has something to do with the business as well.
Well, I think we should finish up because we didn't say what we love best about Kait's.
What we love best?
Yeah, we said what's the most two trait, but I think we should end with a compliment.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
She's like, please don't.
She's like, actually, yes. Keep it kind. My favorite thing is I feel like she will take a really boring situation and make it really fun. So I feel like what I do is I just kind of tag along with Kait wherever she goes. I just kind of stand in her shadow because I just want to be in her little happiness bubble.
Kait's like, okay, now you.
Like, okay, yes, you are correct, Whitney. Now Tara.
Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I'm just like, thanks.
I always feel like that you always, I mean, you kind of said this about me, but I feel like this more so about you, that you make people feel really comfortable to the point that people like open up to you really easily. And I feel like it's always been a super admirable thing that like your friends all wanted to navigate to where you were. And so they all like moved to Nashville because you're there. And I mean, I'm sure that they might have had other reasons, but like everybody wants to be where you're at. Like you're kind of the core and the center of like the friend universe, right? Like I feel like you
kind of what I just said, but okay.
Yeah.
Tara's like, let me just explain that a little bit more.
But I mean, I do feel like that you make people feel really warm and even people that are super quiet, like Whitney, like I feel like you have a way of making people open up when that may not be their like natural tendency.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's why the 9 1s are all around you.
You're just surrounded.
I have a good, like, I feel like I have a good closing question.
Okay.
What do you feel like, or how do you feel like your personality best serves our business?
Well,
Whit's like, what don't I do?
Exactly. I can pretty much figure anything out. Yeah, my creative side helps me. And if you give me a task, I take responsibility over it and I will figure it out and do it really well because I have that perfectionist streak.
You're very analytical too. So I feel like you're willing to tackle the detail that I can't stand.
Yeah, details I'm not afraid of. Actually, I kind of like doing details and I like knowing that I'm going to do something well. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. And so it may take me a bit longer, which I'm trying to do better at, but I at least know when I get done with it, it's the best version of what I could have done. And then apparently I'm really good at neutralizing situations. I take all the little ideas from everybody and try to like group them into one nice idea.
I feel like I am good at trying to, I don't feel like I'm a visionary because I always feel like that's what we would consider Dad to be, but I feel like I am good with taking big concepts and coming up with things that help us like propel forward, or at least like always looking for the next thing that would help us, you know, like the return situation. How do we have a better customer experience, going into a process and figuring out how we make it more efficient. Like I feel like those things is where my strengths come in.
I agree. I feel like the majority of where the business is at currently started off with harebrained ideas of yours. I mean, let's be honest, that's why we're here right now, is Tara's initial harebrained idea.
It's true.
What about you?
Well, since my presence is a gift, I think anytime I'm just kidding. I think that I am best at connecting with our customers. I feel like that's probably where like the business thrives, is if I'm like on social media constantly, because I really enjoy the connection that it's given me with people. And I think that people feel close to us because of the way that we show up online. My lighting got really weird, so I apologize. It's like, feels like angelic behind me for some reason. So what'd you say?
Your presence is a heavenly gift.
It is. God's speaking for us right now. So yeah, I feel like it's been really helpful for me, obviously, because I love like connecting with them, but also I feel like it's been a cool thing to like, because I just don't feel like a lot of businesses really put stake in relational selling and or just relationships in general with their customers. I feel like there's a lot of really nameless brands and there's not a lot of like stickiness because you're like, I don't know anything about who owns Sephora, so like I don't really have any sort of like, our customers are so sweet, they'll be like, can I exchange this? If it's too much trouble, don't worry about it, I'll just burn it. Like they're like, if it hurts the business, like no thanks. Like they really care about the longevity of our business, and I feel like because they have that relationship with us and like we've created these bonds, like I feel like they really want to see us succeed. And so I feel like that's been really a cool thing that I've helped to foster, because I've had the time to be on social media and like be the front lines of like relationships with customers.
You're also an amazing marketer, to the point that every MLM in the planet has reached out to you because they want you on their team.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like you're definitely good with relationships for sure. I mean, that's why I like to rally around you, me and all the rest of the nines. But I feel like you also give a lot of personality to our brand, because you're such a bright, shining star.
Oh, wow, thank you. Yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of things in my life that I can like, and I'm not saying this to be self-deprecating, I'm not looking for a compliment, but I do feel like there's not a lot of things in my life that I can be like, wow, I really excel at this. Like there's few things that I can say like I feel very talented at, and sales would be the only thing that I'm like, I can outright say that and have people agree with me like, yes, you are really good at sales. But I think what makes you good at sales is when you're not trying to be good at sales. Like I think that the people that show up on social media or just in marketing channels in general and just don't have, like you're saying, have no personality, expect people to buy with no relationship, I think that's makes them cringy when you really don't care about the people you're talking to. And I think that people want to buy from someone they have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. And I've always said this, but I don't look at a customer base and look at them like walking debit and credit cards. Like I've always felt like at the end of the day, I care so much about their relationship more than just what the business is doing. Yeah. So
personality.
Yeah. Well, we need to wrap it up. So we're going to finish with a weird question.
Yay.
Because this is the Sisterhood.
It's my favorite part. I love this part.
Whit took forever to write down her answer. So let me just put that out there.
I'm like a fatty true and true. Like I love my food. So, you want to say the question? Because that won't make any sense to anyone.
So we were at Starbucks earlier before we decided to record. And we were because we needed a little pick-me-up. And the guy asked us while we were waiting for our drinks. He said, I always find it funny at Starbucks because I think they're told that they need to like make conversation with you. And so it can be awkward, but he was good. He was engaging. He's nice. He wanted to know if we were on death row, what would our meal be? And I immediately said it would be turkey, like Thanksgiving dinner. So like one of my favorite meals, but it has to be grandma's recipes, right? Our grandma was an amazing cook. And so it would have to be turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy, the stuffing, corn, the marshmallow rolls, like all the things. That would be mine.
So mine, I wrote all my favorite things because I'm like, if this is the last time I'm going to eat all of my favorite things, it has to be this. So it's a list. First of all, I would do filet mignon with party potatoes. So party potatoes are like a family thing. They're like cheesy mashed potatoes, and it's like baked in the oven, and they're so.
Is that a Midwest thing? Like, do you think other people make party potatoes?
I don't know. Must be.
We should have a topic about
Midwest food.
Yeah, there's an Instagram account called Midwest First Everyone that my cousin's husband Jared introduced me to, and it is like the funniest, most accurate like thing ever. So we'll have to talk about that sometime.
Like asked if we polled the audience of like, does this happen? And then we could talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, yes. Okay. Back to food. So I do filet mignon, party potatoes. Then our grandma used to make cinnamon bread. It's like It's legendary. I make a really bomb ramen, so I would add that in there. Yeah, no, it's not like a meal. It's like Whit's favorite things. It's like random.
Okay.
I also make strawberry lemon cake, lemonade cake.
That would be my dessert.
Yeah, you should have added that. I was thinking about you when I wrote this down. Maybe we'll be on death row together. We'll eat this together.
No, because that's my biggest irrational fear is that I'm going to get committed. I'm going to get convicted of a crime I did not commit.
Yes. So strawberry lemonade cake. I also make a really bomb oatmeal cream pie, and I cannot stay out of those. It's like, they're so good.
We're gonna have to share a cell.
A homemade, yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to share a cell after eating all this. I'll probably be the size of my jail cell. Our homemade Cobb salad with homemade ranch, which it's also a Midwest thing. The sweet granola Chex Mix that we make, it's
my
so
puppy
good.
chow would be in mine, but yes, that is good too.
The baked granola, it's like honey and cinnamon. It's delicious. And then pizza.
What kind of pizza though?
Probably Jack's Pizza, because you know how I love
Jack's is
it.
your absolute favorite? If you could pick your absolute favorite pizza, what would it be?
Casey's Pizza, hands down, so good.
I would agree with you. That is
Casey's gas station pizza is so good.
It is.
Why is it so good?
I don't know. It's like grease. It's just the right amount of grease and cheese and sauce.
The cheese is like,
there's a
like
lot
thick,
of thick, yeah,
and it's real.
It's not too saucy.
Oh,
Papa John's is too saucy. Sometimes Pizza Hut has like some weird
Pizza Hut's
flavors.
Weird. I don't love it. Domino's isn't even on the map.
Oh, Domino's. Like,
Sorry,
no,
Domino's.
don't even come in. Don't even.
Like, no. I was just trying to process the 45 things Whitney just asked her penitentiary for. So mine's pretty simple.
What would you be?
Mine would just be Chewy's. It would be chips and salsa, the creamy jalapeno, which I like to call crack dip because it's impossible to stop eating. And then I would get the chicka chicka boom boom with a side of sour cream and an extra side of boom boom. But instead of their margs, because they don't have very good margs, I would get Phil to make me a margarita for my last breath.
And what would be the reason that you're on death row? Crocs?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think of like what I would actually commit a crime for.
Oh, should we tell them like what we did on our reel the other day?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kait, we did this reel where we were like holding up signs, and it was kind of like reminiscent of someone getting like their mugshot. Kait's was the reason she was getting a mugshot done is because she was assaulting someone who had worn Crocs. Hates Crocs. That and nail filing. If you file your nails and wear Crocs, you're probably gonna die in front of Kait. She'll kill you. Mine was because I fell asleep during jury duty, because I nap all the time. I'm a big napper. And then Tara's was she's obsessed with Starbucks pumpkin cream cold foam, and she cannot find the pumpkin flavoring everywhere or to get it to taste right.
If you try to make it at home, it is not the same. Do not follow the TikTok recipes. They do not taste it. You have to buy the Starbucks pumpkin sauce off of eBay.
So the reason she was getting her mugshot done in her reel is because she robbed a Starbucks of their pumpkin sauce.
I have a like 25-gallon.
Oh, you do have it? Yeah. Oh, you bought it off eBay?
I did.
How much did you pay for that thing?
Like $60.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know it was that much. Wait, the one that was already opened, did you freeze it?
No, it was good until like March. So we really need to like get on it and finish it up.
Is it in your fridge right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a gallon's worth of pumpkin sauce. But if you mix it with whipping cream enough, then it gets that consistency and it tastes just like it. Yeah, but you kind of need the one part that's missing from home is you really need the same ice as Starbucks. Like the big cubes that we have in our house just don't quite give you the same feeling, but the foam tastes the same.
Pumpkin cream should have been on your death row meal.
I know, an iced chai would have made the list.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well,
should I close this out? I feel like it's like when you're asking who's going to close you out in prayer. That's what this feels like.
It feels like we're waiting for someone to pray.
If you feel led by the Spirit.
We like grew up in private school where you had to like close out in prayer before you left class. Do you remember that? You would like open and close in prayer.
family get-togethers. Who's come from the farthest?
So weird. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching I think this is our second episode of what?
I just about bowed my head.
Thank you for being here. Thank the good Lord that we have a podcast and we're finally doing it. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Sisterhood Society. We have more intentional, serious topics coming as well, but we wanted to start our first few episodes light, just to get you guys introduced to the podcast and get to know the three sisters that are chatting with you. If you liked what you heard today or like what you saw, please leave a comment on our YouTube channel or leave us a review on Apple so that other people can
love a subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe. And thanks so much. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.